All right. Hello, everybody. My name is Oscar Galindo from Prep Red Zone, Nebraska. I'm here with another episode of The Official Visit. Doing something a little bit different for this episode. I'm sure you're probably already asking yourself, Oscar, where are you? Why can't I see you? Why can't I want to hear your voice? What's going on? And that's just because I want to do something different, being that I went to my first 7-on-7 tournament of the season this Saturday. Here in Papillion. It was the Nebraska 7-on-7 battle for the Monarch Crown. Got to see a ton of great players. Some highlight reel plays, all that kind of fun stuff you see at these 7-on-7 tournaments. So just kind of want to talk about it a little bit. I do have an interview with Coach Tank, who he's really been trying to grow the Nebraska 7-on-7 circuit. And really trying to, expand that and help bring exposure to 7-on-7 athletes and, use that platform to, help these players develop so that they can go on and be high-level performers at, the collegiate level. So, talk to him for a little bit, kind of hear his mindset on, getting everything started up and kind of where he sees the program going in the future. Great interview with him. But yeah, like I said, 7-on-7 tournament, battle for the Monarch Crown. It was hosted at Papillion. The Monarchs had two teams there. I believe it was like a younger team and then a team with like some of their a little bit more established, starters and players that are probably going to get a lot more playing time this season. Select 7 had a team there. They had, from what I saw, a lot of Papillion La Vista South players. Guys like Derek Jones, Chase Cunningham, Keith Hamby. Those guys, they're going to be some big names for the Titans next season. As well as the Red Wolves out of Lincoln. They were there. They had two teams as well, like a younger team. I believe it was mostly like sophomores. And then they also had, their older team, who, eventually ended up winning the whole tournament. So, and then the last team from Nebraska here was the Midwest Mambas. Strong Aurora Huskies presence, but they did have a couple other players from, the surrounding areas. So it was great seeing them. Don't really get to see a whole lot of Aurora players in person. So it was nice kind of checking them out and, seeing some of the guys on their squad, Booker Shireman, Cannon Allen, those guys, they're going to be studs this season. But yeah, that was the Midwest Mamas. And then we also had Iowa Gators from Iowa. And then Epic 7 out of Midwest Epic 7 out of, I believe, like the Kansas City area from around there, I believe. Ton of great players on that team as well. One player I was going to cover a few standouts here just real quick. One of them was Jack Oots. I really hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. But a 2026 tight end. 6'5". I can't remember how big he is in terms of like weight, but I believe it was like 220 around there. Big frame, athletic, great hands, tough, strong hands as well at the point of at the catch point. It was a player that as I was watching, I'm like, man, I really hope this guy has offers already. I wouldn't be surprised if he did, and yeah, sure enough, when I went to check him out on Twitter. Found out he already has 7, Power 5 or 4, Power whatever you want to call it now with the whole alignment. But regardless, 7 offers, big time offers as well. Baylor, Mizzou were some of the ones I saw. But yeah, great talent. Like I said, only a 2026 prospect, so 2 more years. I can't imagine what he's going to look like by the time he's a senior. Just the beast and, the whole, a good number of kids from that team were from Platte County, and look when I look a little bit further into their 2026s too. So yeah, it's this very solid group of young players. Shout out to Epic 7, very solid showing. They ended up being runner up in the tournament. So obviously didn't end how they wanted to, but regardless had a great tournament, great showing there. So yeah, shout out to them. Another player I wanted to shout out. Another player I wanted to shout out was Red Wolves quarterback Zach Stark. I thought he did a great job. He's someone I watched last season with the Red Wolves. Showed a lot of potential then, and he really kind of took the next step in his development and his, just being a quarterback. That progression looked so much more poised, so much more confident. He was reading defenses very well. He was making smart decisions with the ball. I'm not really sure I don't know if I really saw him commit many turnovers, to be quite honest. I could probably count on, very few turnovers, a lot of touchdowns, and a lot of great passes just in general. Very live arm. He could use different angles to throw, kind of, maneuver the ball around defenders and all that kind of stuff that you kind of see with these new age quarterbacks. So, Zach Stark from Lincoln Southwest. He will be a senior next season. Very impressive player. Strong arm, showed that he could push the deep ball and had good placement on those deep balls as well. So, very very good player. Excited to kind of see what's next for him. Another player I wanted to highlight from the Nebraska Select 7, Derek Jones, running back. He's a player we've interviewed here on the official visit already. He had a great start to his sophomore season. Fortunately, had an injury that kind of sidelined him for the majority of it before I believe he was able to come back. Just a player that we've kind of kept an eye on since his freshman season, and just know that the talent is there. Very athletic, very agile, quick, shifty player who can just dangerous with the ball in his hands. He can make defenders miss in open space. You can kind of try to just move him around pre-snap, try to find a good spot to line him up at, and just or maybe try to get the ball in his hands in open space or in with open field in front of him, and just kind of let him work his magic there. And he did so. And he was very impressive on defense. It was my first time really seeing him get or several reps of him at defensive back as well, and I thought he did a great job. Showed nice aggressiveness. Attacking the ball when the ball was up in the air. No easy receptions when the ball was headed towards his side of the field. So, Derek Jones from Papillion La Vista South, 2026 prospect. Definitely want to watch. Huge season coming up this year for him. All right, and then the last player I wanted to shout out here was another Red Wolves player. He's going to be a senior this season. Dane O'Mell. He was at Lincoln Christian. I believe he's transferring over to Lincoln Southeast. Super impressive athlete on both sides of the field, or on both sides of the ball. I didn't recognize him at first. I remember seeing him last season. Just impressive last season. And this season, like I said, I didn't recognize him. He looked a lot bulkier, and sure enough, it was him. And that was one of the first things I said is, man, you definitely bulked up, and he definitely used that to his advantage. You could see him being more physical with receivers when he was playing DB. He was more physical with DBs when he was playing receiver. So just really kind of using that growth to his advantage on the field, and just kind of learning to be more dominant. He was already like a player that can just go out and just ball out and demand the ball and be dominant at the point of attack, and now even more so with him having a little bit more size on him. Great technique at cornerback as well. Very aggressive with the ball in his hands. He had with the ball in the air. He had a nice interception where it was kind of a tip drill pass, and he came down with it at a crucial point for the Red Wolves. So, I'm excited to see how he fits into the Lincoln Southeast offense and defense. I'm sure they'll find a spot to put him at, and kind of let him use his athletic ability to make plays, whether that be touchdown receptions or forcing turnovers and interceptions and all that kind of stuff. So, Dane O'Mell from Lincoln Southeast for playing for the Red Wolves. Another one of my standouts there. That's all I had. Or those are kind of my 4 standouts here, real quick. I do have more. I did write more about more players on Prep Red Zone, so make sure to check that out. I do have a standouts article for 3 of the however many teams so far. Kind of just highlighting a few more players that I thought did a great job throughout the day. But yeah, Prep Red Zone, check those out. And now I want to, turn it over to Coach Tank, and, kind of go through that interview and let him talk about what he's doing here with Nebraska Red Wolves, and how he's trying to, help develop and grow the Nebraska 7-on-7 series, and, put together a circuit that, teams in the state can, travel to and, compete and grow without necessarily having to, break the bank by going to, 5 states over, and flights here and there, and hotels and stuff like that, and kind of really trying to help reduce that cost for parents and families, so that they can, partake in these activities. So, very, very cool interview talking with the coach. You can tell he's very passionate about what he's doing, about these kids, about their development, about the growth in Nebraska high school football and athletics. So yeah, great interview with him, and I'm really excited to see how all this continues to grow, and all the exposure it will bring to the tremendous players we have out here, and Iowa and Missouri and South Dakota and all the surrounding states as well, that out here in the Midwest kind of tend to go under the radar. And yeah, some of the players out here, some of the talent seems to kind of fly under some coaches' noses, just because may scoff at Midwest players and stuff like that. But regardless, this is Coach Tank, and the 7-on-7 circuit is here to try to combat that as best as he can. So yeah, without any further ado, here is Coach Tank Perry, talking about Nebraska 7-on-7. All right, let me talk to you real quick about Rexius Nutrition in Ralston. Rexius carries an awesome line of pre-workout from brands like Alpha Lion, Bucked Up, 5150, Insane Labs, and several other brands. They also have a great selection of protein powder, including my personal favorite, the All Max Hexapro cookies and cream flavored. Can't go wrong with that. They also carry the very popular brand Axon Sledge protein powders, branched chain amino acids, which are crucial to stay hydrated, and pre-workout. They also carry locally owned brands like VHI Fit. They carry their protein powders in several different flavors. They also have pre-workout, branched chain amino acids, vegan protein powder as well. And if you have a sweet tooth like me, you gotta try this Omaha protein popcorn. The owners Jamie and Brent Stryker are absolute studs and are very knowledgeable with a background in bodybuilding. Jamie even reached pro status as an IFBB pro women's physique competitor. Stop by Rexius Nutrition in Ralston on the corner of 84th and Q and receive 10% off when you tell them you're there on an official visit.
Who am I here with today?
Hey, it's Tank Perry with the Nebraska 7v7 football tournament series.
All right, Coach Tank. So it's a big day here, Battle of the Monarch Crown tournament, sponsored by Nebraska 7-on-7. Just give me your thoughts on the day so far, some quick recap of the day up to this point.
Yeah, you know what? It's been an awesome day. We've got teams from Missouri, we've got teams from Kansas, got teams from Iowa. It's a really beautiful day. The weather's nice. I think the most important thing to remember is that there's a lot of talent in Nebraska, and we just have to get other states to come to Nebraska, which is what Nebraska 7-on-7 is all about, to really enjoy, the landscape. We have a beautiful city here, we have beautiful towns here, and we have kids that can flat out play, and so we're getting those things sorted out every year with Nebraska 7-on-7, where teams from other states who didn't know that we had such amazing players, now they know. Oh, can you hear me? Okay.
And then, so the next question I got here for you is, obviously, like you just mentioned, we have 3 states being represented here today. Kind of what was your vision, or what were your kind of goals as you were thinking about starting this up, this whole tournament series up?
So when I started this a couple of years ago, it was really more of a vision and a business model. I knew there were some really amazing teams that took their talents to get the exposure to other states, which I thought was amazing. There was other folks that went in the border states as well program, but what I wanted to do after traveling the first year with my program, I noticed that my parents were fatigued, my players were fatigued. I noticed that the average trip was 350 miles or so, just a lot, 2 days in a hotel. So when I thought that, you know what if we developed an environment and we co-opted with other programs to get teams to want to come to Nebraska. And that's been really successful. We launched 2 tournaments last year. This year, I think we've got 4. Next year, we've got 6. We've got some other folks that are doing tournaments as well. And so what we really look at is all things 7-on-7 is what Nebraska 7-on-7 is all about. You know, we don't want to hoard the landscape. We just want teams to pop up everywhere, and we want to get those partners from other states, Iowa, South Dakota, Missouri, Kansas, Colorado, to want to come and visit us here.
So then, you mentioned, just you're not just in charge of the whole tournament, but you're also here. You brought 2 teams, your Nebraska Red Wolves team.
Yeah.
2 teams. And that team is just, we spoke on it earlier, the significant growth you've seen.
Yes.
You want to talk a little bit about the growth you've
seen?
Yeah,
so when we started the programs about 3.5 years ago, a lot of people said they couldn't be done, and there was a lot of focus on other sports, which I totally respect that. But what we've done is we've taken a group of kids that represent 51 schools in Nebraska, and we've molded those guys that they want to come back every year, and they bring other people back. And then what we do is we establish even more teams to make sure that we're moving in the right direction. So it's been amazing. Their growth and development. We talk about film, we talk about nutrition, we talk about concepts, we talk about chalk talk. We've got some amazing coaches. We've got some coaches that are volunteering their time, ex-professional players. We got Aaron Swinney here. We've got Henry Livingston here. We got Rob Perry that's here as well. That are overall. We've got a new guy out of Ashland. His name is Ben Armstrong. Runs a younger program. We've got Cassius Skinner. So we've got some really, really solid coaches here that we're super excited about. And what they do is they really make sure, one of the models with the Nebraska Red Wolves is that we're not doing things just to get it right. We're doing things till we can't get it wrong. And I think the kids need to understand that, and they're getting better and better and better every day. So I'm super proud of the coaches. I've got an athletic director who is just absolutely fantastic, and I couldn't be more proud of him. Sean Wilcox does a good job. My son Rob doubles up with his own teaching, his own programs. Triples up, I guess. He coaches at the level for the Nebraska Red Wolves, and then he turns around and he helps me with the Nebraska 7-on-7 football tournament series. So we're really excited that we have a bunch of men. We can always use more. That's a plug. But we have a bunch of men that are willing to give their time.
So then, obviously this is only the first tournament of the series.
Yes.
This year.
Yeah.
And, great turnout so far. We still have to see the upcoming tournaments.
Yes.
But what would you say is next for Nebraska 7-on-7 and the Red Wolves?
So really what's next, and I really want to keep this about Nebraska 7-on-7 football, because that's really what it's all about. It's really good to have teams here, but other teams matter as well. So I don't want to take the focus away, but for Nebraska 7-on-7 football, the tournaments just keep getting bigger. High schools, coaches are reaching out to us to help them host their tournaments. We know the landscape of the environment, and so we want to have the best tournaments that are possible out there. April 21st is an amazing tournament. It's a really beginning of a really cool saga called Nebraska Border Wars, where we're inviting the teams that surround Nebraska, even outside of that, to come in and compete with some of the Nebraska teams. If they feel like they're better, show us how it's done. We can go from there. But we know we have some amazing teams that are in Nebraska. After that, May 11th, we do our Mother's Day Showdown. It's a one-day tournament this year on the 11th. Last year we had 60 teams that came down for that. This year we've already got, I think, 20 9 teams registered, and I know a bunch more are really talking about it coming. So it's really super exciting. 2025 is just going to be an explosion because there's so many teams that are developing. There's so many folks that are saying, yes, you know what, I want to travel, but I also want to play at home, right? And it's good for the parents to be. If you notice, we had a heck of a crowd here. You know, parents in Nebraska want to know what their kids are doing. They want to understand 7-on-7, and they want to get behind it. But for all those high school coaches that are out there, I want them to understand it's really about repetitions. I don't think this is a sport within itself. You know, it's argumentable, debatable. Is this a sport? That's not why we're doing it. We're doing it for the kids. We're hoping that every team makes sure that their concepts, their routes, make sure their defenses, make sure their coverages are really strong, make sure that they're teaching their players what should happen. I always invite coaches to come out to Lincoln to see our practices. They're welcome to come and see what we're doing. We want them to be a part of what's going on because this is for the entire, state, and in particular the Red Wolves. That's for Lincoln and those surrounding areas. So those coaches are always welcome out.
For sure. All right, and let's see. Do I have a last question for you?
Yeah, sure. You got one more question for me.
All right. So for the people that say, 7-on-7, I don't want my kid doing that. I don't want my, picking up bad habits or whatever it may be. All the naysayers. What would you say to those people that are kind of on the fence about what 7-on-7 is and the benefits that can come to their players?
Well, seeing it for starters is believing. I think there's some narratives that are out there that work in favor of opposing forces for what's really going on in the market. But the wave of 7-on-7 has been around since 2004, 2005, a passing league in California, and then the Coaches Association in Texas. It is what it is. The key is up to the coaches that are coaching your kids to make sure that they're understanding the route tree, they're understanding defensive schemes, and they're making sure that their players are doing the right thing. So the wave's coming. I would tell those parents, you have to get out there and figure it out and find out for yourself. I would tell those coaches, like some coaches are beginning to do, if you're a coach of a high school and you've got some things that you really want, you should talk to the local team just to make sure that they're giving those concepts to the kids, because you, after all are the coaches that we all look up for at the high school level that we know that are representing our districts and our cities. And so I think that most people that I know my coaches, we have a lot of respect. For the coaches in LPS, we have a lot of respect for the programs that are around Nebraska that's been here for a while. I know that anytime a coach has talked to me, I talk to a lot of coaches, either we're doing that or we're going to find a way to get that in there. So I think it makes them better. The other thing is seeing is believing. I know as I look around Lincoln, as I look around Omaha and the smaller communities, the kids that are out there, skill position playing 7-on-7, they're the ones that make it happen on the field. The quarterbacks, probably one of the best quarterback coaches that are out there is Tommy Armstrong. He's in the market now doing a bang-up job. Mike Lamano for Lincoln Youth Football. He is doing a heck of a job. He's a great concept guy. So the folks that are out there are really good at what's going on. And so I encourage anybody to get off the couch and get involved and see what we're doing out there here and how it works for your kids.
Perfect. All right.
Yeah, Will. Yeah, Will.